Hi there. I've been doing research into the subject of books banned in the United States, and that's how I learned about the works of Toni Morrison. Two of her novels, her debut The Bluest Eye and her most popular work Beloved, often appear on modern-day lists of banned books, largely because they address the subject of racism and they didn't shy away some very tragic and graphic moments in the lives of their characters. Miss Morrison was recognized as a major American author, and just as important, she had a love of cooking that expressed itself in her books. She had her own secret recipe for carrot cake that she never wrote down, and when she passed on, her recipe went with her. And tributes to Toni Morrison's life often include carrot cake made in her honor. I'm glad to have been introduced to her work, and with this being Black History Month in February of 2024, I'm also happy to present my first carrot cake here on this YouTube channel, which I gladly dedicate to the works of Toni Morrison. The hardest part of baking a carrot cake, of course, is grinding up a lot of carrots. Yeah, as you can see, this is going to be all so exciting, this preparation. However, this is really about the only thing that needs to be done in terms of heavy prep work. I've got all my ingredients laid out. It's actually easier than grating cheese because the carrots are more solid, and it took about 15 minutes to end up with about 12 ounces of grated carrots. There we go, that's good enough. And this goes away. We have about 12 ounces of grated carrots, or roughly 2.5 to 3 cups. Okay, now we get to start with, the dry ingredients. That means our mixing bowl. Cup of white sugar, cup of brown sugar, 2 cups of flour. Flop. 1, 2. Okay, next, 2 teaspoons each of baking powder and baking soda. 1, 2. Now baking soda. 1 and 2. There we go. Half a teaspoon of salt, and then we get to our spices. Good enough. There we go. Okay, tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Ginger. This is what I get for buying ginger powder at a Middle Eastern store. Those places, it seems like they have no concept of what a small container is. Which suits me fine, actually. Cardamom. I love the pungent smell of cardamom. If folks have not used cardamom regularly, you should start. If there is one spice you really need to grind yourself, it is nutmeg. Nutmeg is so much better when you grind it yourself, and it's really not that difficult. As long as you don't scrape your fingers, that is. Nutmeg is dry, has no seeds, no liquid, or at least the dried nutmeg they sell in the stores. Very easy to grind, and as such, I highly recommend grinding your own nutmeg. You will never go back to store-bought ground nutmeg. Yes, we are done with the dry ingredients. Yay! And that's, in fact, is the first of our wet ingredients. The carrots. How nice. About 8 ounces of crushed pineapples, or 1 cup. 1. Is this a 3rd cup? Yes, it is. 2, 3. 1 cup of drained crushed pineapple. And of course, I'm going to drink the juice. Pineapple juice. Okay, good. Now comes the eggs, which you have to put in a separate bowl because you don't want to get shell in the cake. 1, 2. I'm afraid I have not yet learned how to do the one-handed egg crack. 3, 4. We'll just do it like this. Save some time. Get half a cup of applesauce. Guess you can't drain this. Which means now, step 4, I think. Time to play with the mixer. There we go. And up we go. Here comes the wet ingredients. Vanilla extract, 3/4 of a cup of canola oil, wait here very quickly. I have something special preheating in the oven, namely a cast iron cake pan. And this thing is blazing hot because I have heated it to 425 degrees. Now, that seems very high temperature for a cake, but that is intentional. The moment the cake actually goes into the oven, I'm going to turn it down to 350 degrees. And that will help put a crust on the cake, which will help keep it from sticking, I hope. I say I hope because I've done this many times, but this is my first time with a carrot cake. And I am melting some Crisco here, and we need to cover every inch of the inside of the pan. So of course I don't want to burn myself, but in particular the sides. And yes, this is the Lodge cast iron cake pan. They are not paying me for this. Alright. This thing smells fantastic. Let's go into the oven. 1, 2, 3. Now from here, we immediately turn the temperature down to 350 degrees so that the oven will cool while the cake bakes. And it has been only 50 minutes. So let's see if this cake is done or if it needs to go back in. I might say that this cake is done because there is a lot of fruit in it. So yes, it only took 50 minutes. Now we just wait another 20 minutes for the cake to cool off. See, this is a very dense cake, despite the way that I used a lot of leavener. It didn't really rise all that much, but it certainly rose. There we go. However, no, I give up. All right. Well, this way, there we go. And a 1, a 2. Ha-ha! Oh, thank goodness. That was one of the more interesting flips. I'm just glad it was successful. This cake is nice and soft, which means the hard part is done. We have our carrot cake. Now all we have to do is let it cool off and frost it. And now all we needed to do was mix together cream cheese, milk, and a lot of powdered sugar to create a glaze for our carrot cake. We then poured it over the cake and topped it with pecans. And here is our carrot cake baked in cast iron and dedicated to Toni Morrison for Black History Month.